So our next topic is the fact that Chinese President Xi is not going to the G20 Summit in India.
Yeah, which is going to be soon. Yeah.
Which is the first summit that he has not attended.
Yeah.
And it is immediately following the BRICS summit that just happened, where China basically was the big boss power player in that summit.
Yeah. Well, I think what seems interesting about all this is that the president, our esteemed, his
Joe Biden, President Joe Biden,
stupid president. That's what I would call him. So I have nothing against the man, but you gotta call what it is. What it is. What he's saying is that, and let me quote here. He said, "I am disappointed, but I am going to go to see him," meaning in reference to President Xi. Yeah. Well, here is the way I see it. And again, putting my geopolitical analyst hat, China thinking in terms of optics. That's why.
Absolutely.
Because in international relations, context matters.
Yep.
The fact that China doesn't show up to a G20, first of all, that diminishes the substance of the summit.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
The largest economy doesn't show up.
Exactly. Second thing is the question that we need to ask is will China would have show up if the meeting was held somewhere else but India?
My personal opinion is that they would have.
Yeah.
So China and India, if you're looking at the BRICS countries, you bring this up all the time, David. China and India are the ones out of all of the BRICS countries, including the 6 new ones that they're trying to bring in, that are not getting along very well. And you see India playing both sides.
But more of those countries, the 6 that's coming up, I think Saudi Arabia and Arab Emirates, Egypt, Eritrea, Iran, and Argentina. The 6 of them that's going to be next year. They all have a better economic relations with China than they do with India. So the question, all this geopolitically is, President Xi, or China in general term, did not want to give a platform to the American president who's saying one thing and doing another. That's one. Second, that also a message to India, because India is playing both sides, like you said. And I've always argued till India gets its act together. As a matter of fact, I just read this morning a UN report by Human Rights. They're really scathing a report about how silent the Indian government about what took place in Manipur. The atrocities. We're talking about sexual violence. We're talking about ethnic, sort of targeting the Christians, the Muslims, and the government is staying quiet. And again, I don't shy away from saying this. I know some have send me some very nasty comments.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, I don't care. They can send them if they have something of value to say.
Sure.
But I won't shy away from addressing that, because Modi, give him the proper respect. Prime Minister Modi is an ideologue.
Yeah.
Is not there for serving the welfare of the Indian citizens in general term. I mean, we all know throughout history, you've been in India, so we all know that India has always been inclusive.
Yeah.
It's an old history, an old civilization.
Very old.
You can't ignore them. Nobody's ignoring. Yeah.
A lot of
but
very
at the
different people.
same time, what we're seeing right now is the policies that they are embarking on. Now, there is another thing that is very important about G20. Russia already mentioned that they will not, listen carefully, they will not support any final communique.
That's
another big blow.
That is
because here is the thing. Any forum like that, when the US is in, they'll tend to push the narrative about all of those attendees are against Russia and so forth. Russia made it clear ahead of time that if the communique does not address our concerns as well, we're not going to support it. What is the big deal about that? If a communique is not embraced by all attendees, it tends to be flawed. And if it tends to be flawed, that gives you the failure of the summit itself.
The summit itself, absolutely.
This is where geopolitics comes in.
Yeah.
And India, given the play or the tactics it's playing, I understand, and I perfectly aware of every country has to look after its own interests.
Absolutely.
But the way India is going about it, I've even been reading articles now about there is a. That's why always, guys, be careful about what you read. The articles that I'm coming across has nothing to do with Indonesia, because they're doing the same for Indonesia.
Yeah.
Did you know that our Pentagon lied about Indonesia in a statement saying that Indonesia condemned the Ukraine conflict? And Indonesia never said that.
The Pentagon lied?
The Pentagon. Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, no way.
No way,
No
right?
way. The Pentagon lied?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, I can't even believe it.
Yeah.
That's sarcasm, guys. I can absolutely believe that the Pentagon lied.
Yeah. So that's exactly what happened. And the idea of them for doing that, it was like, wait a minute, how this can be? I'm going to share a link, not a link, but rather share a screen with you guys to see it with your own eyes. Because this way, we have to have a record for things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Check this out. You guys see that?
Yes. There it goes.
Right
there it goes.
Indonesia shames the Pentagon. U.S. Pentagon released a fake joint statement that condemned Russia and vilified China. Immediately, Indonesia debunked American disinformation by saying, and I quote here, "There is no joint statement and no press conference. Our relationship with China is very good. We respect each other. We already have mutual understanding. We are close friends with China. We seek friendship with Russia." This is the defense minister, Prabowo Subianto, who's running for president, by the way.
Whoa.
So that's, again, this is my point, guys. Be careful about here. So any articles you read about Indonesia, be careful. It's the same arguments that is made now about the area of Ladakh and where the border between China and India.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a slow of articles highlighting how China wants to redraw the map in an entire area.
Yeah.
And you know what the purpose of that is? To foment tensions.
Yeah.
And usually, if you foment tensions when it comes down to international affairs, that means you don't have any strategy.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by using the term irrational policies.
Yeah.
And all this stems from the BRICS coming up. You look at a 40 country who wants to join.
Yeah.
And the demise of the EU, G7.
Yeah.
And now G20 without having China attending.
Yeah.
That's the big picture.
The G7 without having China. That's
G20.
Or G20. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, G20
You're
without
right.
having China attending.
Oh, it's kind of like it's no brainer.
Right.
How can you not take note of one of the largest growing economy not even attending, and you still call that a summit? A successful summit?
Right.
No, it won't.
It's not. It won't. And it's very interesting because over the years she has gone.
Yeah.
He's gone because it's provided him a platform. It's provided China a platform that it's needed.
That is correct. That is correct.
Now,
It's part of growing.
Right.
We did the same after World War II.
But right now, he doesn't seem to need it anymore. At least he thinks he doesn't seem to need it anymore.
Yeah.
And him not going is bigger as a statement than anything he could have said while he was there.
That's true. And that's true. And for the US president to say, well, I am, what was the word that he used? Let me use his own term.
I think disappointed or something.
I have it right here. Yeah, disappointed. You're right. For him to use, I am sure the Chinese would just shrug their shoulders. You know, what is Uncle Joe talking about? Does he remember? So it's kind of, it's reality. Why? Because to Chinese, they're looking at a hypocrisy. We're saying one thing and doing another.
Oh, hugely.
We just had our Commerce Secretary going to China, turning around and expanding the chip ban.
Yeah. No, and that's been actually the wildest thing.
Yeah.
Is you're absolutely right. On one side, here are all these people that we're sending over, right? Here are all these diplomats that we're sending over. And then the other side of the house is Washington keeps saying no chips, no technology, no. And so it really is both sides of the mouth.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Chinese are smart. They know what's happening.
They know. And
so on the global stage, they just said, nah, we're out. we're done with this. And they have the power to back it up. Whether the US wants that or not, they seem to have the power to back that up.
I just had a conversation with Rick Turn. You remember Rick, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's a good friend, and we addressed these aspects of it, of how China, because within the context of BRICS and CBDC and the yuan and the digital currency and so forth. And I agree with him, the death of the US dollar ain't going to happen tomorrow.
No.
Because you think about it. It took Europe, the euro, 9 years for it to be, it takes time to, and that's the whole argument for this, for what China is seeing, how the changes on the geopolitical landscape will have to be managed accordingly. This is why I said the new multipolar order will be managed through economic blocks. Absolutely. China sees the economic ventures as the way to cement the growing influence on the global stage as the US is declining. Because we all know the reality in the US.